The crying echoed through the mansion's corridors like a ghostly wail, piercing the silence Ethan Blackwood had carefully constructed around his broken heart. It was 3 in the morning, and once again, the twins, Liam and Noah, woke the entire house with their desperate cries, as if searching for something he couldn't, or wouldn't, offer. Ethan remained motionless in his study, his hands trembling slightly as he held a glass of whiskey that had long gone cold. The sound of their crying tore at him inside, but his feet seemed glued to the mahogany floor. Every tear from the boys was a dagger of guilt, a cruel reminder that Olivia had left forever, abandoning him with 2 lives he didn't know how to protect. "Mr. Blackwood?" Sarah's hesitant voice, the nanny hired only 2 weeks ago, reached him through the half-open door. "The boys are very restless again. I've tried everything, but they won't stop crying." Ethan closed his eyes, feeling the familiar weight of inadequacy crush his chest. Since Olivia had died during childbirth 8 months ago, 5 different nannies had passed through that house, all left with the same expression of frustration and some with poorly disguised looks of judgment, as if he were the monster in the story. "Do whatever you think best," he murmured, turning to the window where the Seattle rain created hypnotic patterns on the glass. "If you can't manage, I can find someone else tomorrow." There was a tense pause before Sarah responded, her voice firmer. "Actually, sir, I need to talk to you. I can't stay here anymore." The glass slipped from Ethan's hands, shattering on the floor with a crash that momentarily muffled the baby's cries. He knew this moment would come. It always did. It was as if the children were cursed, as if they carried something that drove away everyone who tried to care for them. "They're not normal," Sarah continued, her voice trembling. "They won't stop crying no matter what I do, and when I play any music to calm them, they become even more desperate, as if the music hurts them. I've never seen anything like it in 15 years of working with children." Ethan turned slowly, his face a mask of indifference he had perfected in recent months. "How much do you want for your severance?" "It's not about money, sir." Sarah lowered her eyes. "These boys need something I can't give. They need their father." The words hit Ethan like a punch to the stomach. He opened his mouth to reply sharply, but the twins' crying suddenly intensified as if they sensed the tension in the air. The sound made him instinctively recoil, as it always did. "Prepare your invoice and leave your details with Mrs. Gable," he finally said, his voice cutting. "She'll arrange payment in the morning." Sarah nodded, quickly gathered her things and left, leaving Ethan alone with the endless echo of crying. He looked at the shattered glass fragments scattered on the floor, each one reflecting the lamp's light like tiny, crystallized tears. Upstairs, Liam and Noah continued to cry, and for the first time in months, Ethan felt an almost irresistible urge to go up and hold them. But as soon as he took a step towards the stairs, the image of Olivia, pale, motionless, surrounded by medical equipment, brutally invaded his mind. He had killed the woman he loved by getting her pregnant. How could he touch the children who had cost her life? Ethan returned to his armchair, buried his face in his hands, and for the first time since the funeral, allowed a single tear to slide down his cheek. Upstairs, the boys' crying echoed like an unanswered question. When would their father come home? Morning arrived, gray and with rain drumming against the mansion's windows. Ethan had spent the night awake as the twins' crying cut through the silence like sharp blades. Mrs. Gable entered the study carrying coffee and breakfast rolls. Her tired eyes met Ethan's. "Sarah's already left," she murmured, setting down the tray. "She left the keys in the kitchen." Ethan nodded in silence. "How many now, Mrs. Gable?" "5." "5," she confirmed with a sigh. "I have 3 interviews scheduled for this afternoon. It's no use. They always leave." The doorbell rang, cutting through the moment. Mrs. Gable frowned. It was too early for interviews. At the door, she found a young woman of about 25, soaked by the rain but with determined eyes. She carried a simple backpack and a broken umbrella. "Good morning. I'm Chloe Miller. I'm here for the nanny position." "The interviews are only this afternoon," Mrs. Gable said. "Please," Chloe insisted. "I heard the babies crying from the sidewalk. They sound very distressed. Perhaps I can help?" There was something in that woman's sincerity that touched Mrs. Gable. "Come in, but I can't guarantee Mr. Blackwood is in any condition to receive you." Chloe entered, looking around respectfully. The mansion was imposing, but there was a coldness in the air. "It's a beautiful house," she commented. "But it seems too quiet for having babies." "What do you mean?" "Houses with children usually have a different energy. Here it seems like someone is trying to stifle all sounds." The twins, crying, resumed upstairs. Chloe lifted her head, listening intently. "They're hungry but also scared," she said, surprising Mrs. Gable. "It's a different kind of cry." "How can you know that?" "I worked at St. Jude's orphanage for 3 years. I've cared for over 50 babies. Every cry has its language. These boys aren't just uncomfortable, they're alone." The word hung in the air like a painful revelation. Mrs. Gable felt a tightening in her chest. "May I try to calm them? While you decide if you want to interview me?" Mrs. Gable hesitated, then nodded. "Follow me, but don't touch anything besides the babies." In the nursery, Chloe observed the twins in their ornate cribs. Liam was standing, clinging to the bars, his cheeks red. Noah was lying down, his face contorted in anguish. The room was impeccable. Delicate wallpaper, white furniture, perfectly organized stuffed animals. It was beautiful, but cold. "How long has it been since they slept through the night?" Chloe asked. 2 weeks. Chloe approached Liam, who stopped crying when he saw her, his little blue eyes fixed on her face. When she touched his forehead, he didn't pull away. "Hi, little one," she murmured. "You're tired, aren't you?" A shadow appeared in the doorway. Ethan watched with an indecipherable expression, his fists clenched. His usually impeccable appearance was disheveled, messy hair, unshaven. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice heavy with exhausted authority. Chloe turned without letting go of Liam. "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood. I'm Chloe Miller. I'm here for the nanny position." Ethan scrutinized her. Simple brown hair, modest clothes, only a delicate necklace around her neck. She didn't look like the professionals the agencies usually sent. "Interviews are this afternoon," he said dryly. "You're right. I apologize. But they've been crying for hours. The last nanny thought she could help too." Chloe set Liam down in the crib and faced Ethan. "Have you ever tried just being with them? Just being there?" The question was like a punch. Ethan felt anger bubble up. "That's none of your business." "I don't know your situation," Chloe calmly agreed, "but I know the sound of suffering. And it's not just the babies who are suffering." The silence was broken by Noah's whimpering. Chloe went to him, picked him up, and began to hum a soft melody without words. The effect was immediate. Noah stopped crying, his eyes wide. Liam also fell silent, turning his head towards Chloe's voice. Ethan felt the ground disappear beneath him. That melody. He knew it. "How?" he began, but his voice failed. Chloe continued humming, captivated by the baby's reaction. For the first time in months, there was peace in that room. "Where did you learn that song?" Ethan whispered. Chloe looked up. "I'm not sure. I learned it a long time ago." "Why? Do you know it?" Ethan couldn't answer. It was the same melody Olivia had hummed during her pregnancy, promising the babies they would never be alone. Who was this woman? The silence was broken only by the twins' soft breathing. Ethan remained in the doorway as if he had seen a ghost. I need some air," he murmured, abruptly leaving. Chloe and Mrs. Gable exchanged glances. The housekeeper shook her head. "I've never seen him like this," Mrs. Gable whispered. "Not even when Mrs. Olivia—" "Olivia?" Chloe asked, still cradling Noah. "Their mother. She died in childbirth. Mr. Blackwood hasn't touched the boys since then." Chloe felt her heart tighten. "Could you tell me about her?" Mrs. Gable hesitated. "She was special, sweet, loving. She sang all the time during her pregnancy." She paused, looking at Chloe. "She sang exactly that song you just sang." A shiver ran through Chloe. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely. It was like a prayer for the babies." Mrs. Gable approached. "How do you know that song?" Chloe placed Noah in the crib. "I don't remember exactly. Someone used to sing it to me when I was little. At St. Jude's orphanage." "St. Jude's? That name sounds familiar." Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Ethan returned with a folder of documents, his expression more controlled. "Ms. Miller," he said formally, "I need to ask you some questions." "Of course. Previous experience?" 3 years at St. Jude's orphanage, caring for infants." 6 months as a nanny in Portland, Oregon. Why did you come to Seattle? Chloe hesitated. The family moved, and I felt like I needed to come here, as if something was calling me. Something calling you? A strange feeling. Dreams of a big house, crying children, a melody I couldn't forget. Chloe blushed. I know it sounds crazy. Mrs. Gable and Ethan exchanged loaded glances. That melody, Ethan continued. Where did you learn it? I'm not sure. My memories before I was 5 are hazy. Someone used to sing it. A female voice. Chloe touched the necklace around her neck. It's one of the few things I remember. And your biological parents? I don't know anything. I was found on the orphanage doorstep with only this necklace. She showed it. A delicate chain with a golden heart. Sister Agnes said my mother probably wasn't able to care for me. Mrs. Gable took a step forward, her eyes wide. May I see that necklace? Chloe handed it over. Mrs. Gable examined it, her hands trembling. My goodness, she murmured. Ethan, you need to see this. What is it? This necklace. I swear I've seen one just like it. On Mrs. Olivia when she was young. The air grew thick. Chloe felt dizzy. That's impossible, she stammered. It must be a coincidence. Mrs. Gable, where is Olivia's necklace? Ethan asked. In the safe in the study. Go get it. Mrs. Gable left quickly. The silence between Ethan and Chloe was tense. If this is making you uncomfortable, I can leave, Chloe said. No, he replied quickly. The boys have never reacted like this to anyone. They seem to know you. They just need love and music. Olivia also believed in the power of music. She said they were bridges between souls. She seemed special. She was. And I killed her. You didn't kill anyone, Chloe said firmly. Sometimes life takes people we love, but it's not our fault. Mrs. Gable returned, rushing with a velvet box. She opened it, revealing a necklace identical to Chloe's. My God, Chloe whispered, comparing them. They're exactly alike. Not just alike, Mrs. Gable said emotionally. They're a pair. Look at the hearts. Chloe put the 2 necklaces together. The hearts fit perfectly, forming a complete heart with an inscription. Eternal love between sisters. Sisters? Chloe whispered, leaning against the wall. I had a sister? Liam woke in the crib. When he saw Chloe, he broke into the first genuine smile of his life, as if recognizing someone lost who had finally returned home. Liam's smile echoed through the room like a ray of sunshine breaking through heavy clouds. Chloe felt tears well in her eyes, but she didn't know if they were from joy or from an inexplicable longing that grew in her chest. Sisters, she repeated, holding the joined necklaces. But how is it possible? Why don't I remember her? Ethan approached slowly, as if fearing to break the moment. How old did you say you were when you arrived at the orphanage? 5 years old, but my memories before that are very fragmented. And Olivia was 27 when she died, Mrs. Gable murmured, doing mental calculations. You would have been 15 years apart. Chloe closed her eyes, trying to force a memory. Confused flashes appeared in her mind. A young woman with long hair singing, soft hands combing her hair, the smell of cake baking. I remember an older girl, she whispered. Brown hair, sweet smile. She used to call me Chloe girl. She said she'd be my sister forever. Livy, Mrs. Gable said suddenly. That's what they called her as a child. Olivia became Livy. The pieces began to fit together, but there was still an abyss of questions. Ethan watched Chloe with a strange expression, torn between fascination and apprehension. I need to know more, he finally said. Mrs. Gable, do you have Olivia's documents? Birth certificate, family records? They're all in the office archives. But sir, if they were sisters, why were they separated? And why did Olivia never mention having a sister? Chloe sat in the armchair in the room, her legs trembling. Maybe she didn't know I survived. Or maybe she was forced to forget me. Liam began to whimper softly. Instinctively, Chloe reached out her arms for him. Ethan hesitated for a moment, then picked up his son and handed him to her. For the first time since the twins' birth, he voluntarily touched one of the children. He likes you, Ethan observed, surprised by his own tranquility. I've never seen Liam so calm with strangers. Maybe he feels some connection, Chloe said, kissing the baby's forehead. Children are more sensitive to these things. Noah woke and immediately sought Chloe with his eyes. She picked him up too, holding both twins with impressive naturalness. "You two are beautiful," she murmured to them, "just like Daddy." The word Daddy hit Ethan like a punch. For months he had refused to accept that title, as if he didn't deserve it. But hearing Chloe pronounce it so naturally awakened something dormant in his chest. "They have her eyes," he said softly. "Olivia's." "Tell me about her," Chloe asked. "I want to know what my sister was like." Ethan sat on the edge of the crib, a ghost of a smile crossing his face. "She was luminous. She laughed at everything, sang all the time. She transformed any room just with her presence." "How did you two meet?" "At a charity event. She was organizing a campaign for underprivileged children. I just went to show my face, network." Ethan chuckled. "She made me work. Said rich men needed to get their hands dirty sometimes." Chloe smiled. "Sounds like she wasn't easily intimidated." "Never. She was stubborn, determined. She said she was going to change the world, one child at a time. And she did," Chloe said, looking at the twins. She left them. The silence that followed was interrupted by Mrs. Gable, who returned with a stack of documents. "I found everything," she announced, spreading papers on the dresser. "Olivia's birth certificate, Miller family records." "Miller," Chloe repeated. "That was her last name?" "Yes. And look here." Mrs. Gable pointed to a yellowed document. "Birth record of a second daughter of the Miller family. Chloe Miller, born 15 years after Olivia." Chloe's hands trembled seeing her name on that official paper. "So it's true. We really were sisters." "But look at this," Mrs. Gable said, showing another document. "Parents' death certificate. They died in a car accident when you were 4 years old. Olivia was already an adult and apparently she wasn't in a position to care for you. That's why she took me to the orphanage," Chloe murmured, tears finally overflowing. "She protected me the only way she knew how." Ethan felt his heart clench seeing her suffering. Without thinking, he reached out and gently touched her shoulder. "She loved you," he said. "I'm sure of it. And if you're her sister, then you're family." Chloe lifted her eyes, meeting Ethan's gaze. There was something different in him now, a softness that hadn't been there before. "Are you sure you want to hire me?" she asked. "This must all be very strange for you." "Strange, yes," Ethan admitted. "But maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe Olivia sent you to care for her children." Liam yawned in Chloe's arms and closed his eyes, completely relaxed. Noah soon followed, both falling asleep with a peace they hadn't felt in months. "They trust you," Ethan observed, marveling. "As if you were family," Chloe completed softly. And in that moment, for the first time since Olivia's death, Ethan Blackwood felt that perhaps there was still hope for that house. But a question lingered in the air. If Chloe was truly Olivia's sister, what else would destiny still reveal? A week had passed since Chloe began working at the Blackwood mansion, and the transformation was remarkable. The previously silent corridors now echoed with the joyful babbling of the twins and, occasionally, with Chloe's soft voice humming as she cared for them. Ethan observed everything from a distance, like a cautious spectator of his own life. Every morning as he came down for coffee, he found Chloe in the kitchen preparing bottles, Liam in her lap, and Noah in the stroller, both smiling and alert. "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood." She always greeted him with that smile that lit up the room. "Good morning," he replied, taking only a cup of coffee and quickly heading to his study. But this morning was different. When he came downstairs, he found Chloe sitting in the living room on the floor, playing with the twins on a colorful blanket. Liam was happily crawling towards her, while Noah clapped his hands, laughing aloud. Ethan stopped at the doorway, mesmerized by the scene. How long had it been since he heard laughter in that house? "Daddy," Chloe said animatedly, pointing to Ethan. "Look who's here." Liam turned his little head, and to Ethan's astonishment, stretched his tiny arms towards him, babbling something that sounded like "da-da." He's trying to say daddy?" Ethan asked, emotional. "For 3 days now," Chloe confirmed, smiling. "They talk about you all the time. Or try to." For the first time in months, Ethan approached his children of his own accord. He knelt hesitantly beside the blanket, "Hi, Liam," he murmured, his voice choked. The baby immediately crawled to him, leaning on his legs and trying to climb up. Ethan picked him up, feeling his heart race. Liam smelled of baby powder and affection, and his little blue eyes sparkled with happiness. "He's grown so much," Ethan observed, noticing details he had missed. "They grow fast," Chloe said. "Noah is trying to stand on his own. He almost managed yesterday." As if he had heard, Noah leaned on the sofa and tried to stand up, his little legs trembling. Ethan instinctively extended his arm to support him. "Slowly, champ," he murmured, and for the first time in 8 months he genuinely smiled. Chloe observed the interaction with a warm heart. This was what the boys needed. Their father. "Mr. Blackwood," she said gently, "may I suggest something?" "Of course. How about having lunch with us today, right here in the living room? The boys would love it." Ethan hesitated. His routine was sacred: work, meetings, business dinners. But looking at Liam in his arms and Noah trying to get his attention, something inside him gave way. "All right," he agreed, "but just for today." Mrs. Gable appeared at the door, carrying a tray of chopped fruit for the babies. She stopped when she saw Ethan playing on the floor, an emotional smile crossing her face. "It's good to see this," she murmured to Chloe. "It's been so long." During lunch, Ethan sat on the floor with everyone, watching Chloe feed the twins their baby food. She had infinite patience, turning each spoonful into a game. "How do you get them to eat so well?" he asked, intrigued. "It's all about love and persistence," Chloe replied. And making funny voices, she demonstrated, making a high-pitched voice for the spoon. "Here comes the airplane with the yummy food." Liam giggled and opened his mouth, swallowing everything. Ethan laughed, surprising himself. "Want to try?" Chloe offered, extending the spoon. Ethan took the spoon hesitantly. "Here comes the airplane?" he tried, imitating Chloe. Liam clapped his hands and accepted the food. The emotion Ethan felt was overwhelming. He was feeding his son. Something so simple, yet it felt like a miracle. "He likes you," Chloe observed. "He always has. He was just waiting for a chance." "How do you know that?" "Babies feel everything. They knew you were suffering and respected that. But they also knew you loved them." Ethan stopped, the spoon in the air. "I love them," he said, as if it were the first time he'd admitted it aloud. "I love them so much it hurts." "I know, and they know it too." In that moment, Noah crawled to Ethan and rested his little head on his leg, a simple yet profound gesture of trust. Tears came without warning, and this time, Ethan didn't hold them back. "I'm sorry," he whispered to the babies. "Daddy's sorry it took him so long to come back." Chloe felt her own eyes well up. It was the first real crack in the armor Ethan had built around his heart. Later, when the twins napped, Ethan remained in the living room instead of shutting himself in his study. "Chloe," he said suddenly, "thank you for everything. You don't need to thank me, it's my job." "No," he said, facing her. "It's more than a job. You brought life back into this house. You brought my children back to me." Chloe blushed, nervously fiddling with the necklace. Now she wore both, hers and Olivia's, united as a constant reminder of her lost sister. "May I ask you something?" Ethan said. Do you remember anything else about Olivia, about when you were children?" "Fragments," Chloe admitted. "I remember her teaching me to tie my shoes, telling me stories before bed, and always singing. She loved you very much, I'm sure. And I loved her too, even without knowing who she would become." In that moment, Liam woke and began to cry. But this time, it was Ethan and Chloe together who calmed him, as a team, as a family. When Ethan finally went upstairs to sleep that night, for the first time in months, he didn't feel alone. There was hope in the air, and he was beginning to believe he might be a good father. But in the dark of his room, a question still tormented him. Would it be fair to allow Chloe to become so important in their lives when she herself was a mystery from Olivia's past? It was Liam who made the discovery that would change everything. One sunny morning, the 8-month-old baby decided to explore. Crawling with determination, he made his way to a low cabinet in the corner of the living room. "Liam, no!" Chloe called. But he had already opened the door. A wooden box slid out, spilling photographs and documents onto the floor. "What was that?" Ethan asked, looking up from his newspaper. Chloe approached, picking up Liam. He opened this cabinet. "I'm sorry, I'll clean it up." As she knelt to gather the objects, her heart stopped. Among the papers was a leather-bound notebook. "Pregnancy journal, Olivia Blackwood." "What's that?" Ethan approached. "It seems to be Olivia's." His face hardened. "Put that back. Now." "But sir," I said, "put it back." His voice exploded, making Liam cry. "You have no right to touch her things." Chloe stood, rocking Liam. "I didn't touch anything." Liam opened it. "Of course you're going to blame a baby." "I'm not blaming anyone, I'm telling you what happened." Ethan snatched the journal abruptly. "These are private memories. You can't invade our intimacy just because we found out you were her sister." The words cut deep. "You're right. I apologize." Chloe headed for the door with Liam. "Where are you going?" "For a walk." "To leave you in peace." Alone, Ethan held the journal like a ticking bomb. Part of him wanted to put it away, but another whispered that perhaps it was time to confront the past. With trembling hands, he opened the first page. "Today I found out I'm going to be a mother." Ethan was in shock, but he hugged me so tight. I'm scared, but also filled with indescribable joy. He turned the page, then another. 10th week. I started singing to the baby. I sing that song I used to sing to my little sister. It still hurts to think about her, how I had to leave her at the orphanage. Ethan stopped. Olivia knew about Chloe. 20th week. I feel them moving when I sing. It's like they recognize the melody. Music connects souls. 30th week. I dreamed of my sister again. Chloe. She was an adult, caring for children, singing our song. If only she knew she was going to be an aunt. Tears blurred his vision. Olivia had thought of Chloe throughout her entire pregnancy. Last week, something isn't right. But if anything happens, I want my children to know they were loved. And I want someone to sing our song to them, the one that connects our family. The journal slipped from his hands. Olivia knew something might happen. She had left the music as a bridge to Chloe. When Chloe returned, she found Ethan on the floor, the journal open, tears on his face. "Mr. Blackwood." He looked up, completely vulnerable. "She knew. Olivia knew about you. She dreamed of you." Chloe approached, placing the twins on the rug. "You read it? She wanted you to come. She wanted you to care for them." He read the last entry aloud. When he finished, Chloe was crying too. "She loved me," she whispered, "even after all these years." "And she brought you to them," Ethan said, looking at the twins. "Somehow she brought you home." Liam crawled to the journal and tapped his little hand on the cover. Noah followed, and soon both were beside the adults. "I'm sorry," Ethan said, "for yelling, for doubting. You were meant to find this." Chloe took his hand. "She brought us together, to care for them, together." Ethan understood that Chloe was part of a larger plan, essential to the family Olivia had dreamed of creating. But a concern grew. What if discovering the whole truth changed everything? What if there were more secrets waiting? 3 days after the discovery of the journal, Ethan was having coffee with Chloe and the twins, sharing stories about Olivia. "She used to reorganize my files," he recounted, watching Liam eat. "She said my desk reflected my disorganized soul." "And was she right?" Chloe asked, wiping Noah clean. "Completely," he admitted, smiling. Mrs. Gable entered with a worried expression. "Mr. Blackwood, can I talk about Chloe's necklace?" "What about it?" "I went to the basement to look for Miller family things. I found this." She placed a blue velvet box on the table, identical to the one that held Olivia's necklace. Inside was the same necklace Chloe wore, but new, without marks. "This is Olivia's original," Mrs. Gable explained. "Yours, Chloe, I don't know where it came from." Chloe compared the necklaces. They were identical, but hers showed years of wear. "How can there be 3 identical ones?" she murmured. "Mrs. Gable, do you have the contacts for St. Jude's orphanage?" Ethan asked. "I can get them." "Why?" "I want to talk to Sister Agnes. If anyone knows the truth about Chloe, it's her." An hour later, they headed to the orphanage. Chloe held Liam while Noah slept in his car seat. St. Jude's orphanage was an old building on the north side, with faded yellow walls and a garden with scattered toys. Sister Agnes greeted them. a woman in her 60s with graying hair and kind eyes that lit up when she saw Chloe. "Chloe, girl, what a joy." She hugged her. "And with babies. Are they yours?" "I'm their nanny." Chloe introduced Ethan and Mrs. Gable. "We discovered I had a sister, Olivia Miller." The nun's face changed, recognition and sadness in her features. "So you finally found out." "You knew?" Chloe asked, surprised. "Your sister used to come here until she was 18. She brought gifts, asked about you. She said she'd come back for you. But she never came." "She did come, on your 18th birthday. But you had already left 3 years prior. You were in Portland, Oregon." "She looked for me?" "Very much so. She left this address and this." The nun took a yellowed envelope from the drawer. It was a letter in Olivia's handwriting. "My dearest Chloe girl," Chloe read, tears falling. "If you are reading this, we have finally found each other. I know you don't remember. You were very small. But there wasn't a day I didn't think of you." Ethan observed Chloe's emotion. "I left 3 gifts. The matching necklace to mine, a song our mother used to sing, and a promise. If I ever have children, you will be the first person they meet, because you are an essential part of our family." Chloe sobbed. Ethan continued reading. "Our separation wasn't abandonment, it was protection. You deserved a better chance than I could give you at 15. I love you, little sister." "Livy, why didn't she find me?" Chloe asked. "She tried for 2 years, but you changed jobs frequently. Then she met Mr. Blackwood, got married, got pregnant. She was going to look for you after the babies were born," Mrs. Gable added. "She wanted you to be the twins' godmother." Liam touched Chloe's wet face, comforting her. "She kept her promise," she whispered, looking at him. "Even without knowing." "It was destiny," Ethan said. "Olivia found a way to unite us. They left emotionally drained, but the pieces finally fit. Chloe was truly family." On the way back, Ethan couldn't shake a worry. Now that Chloe knew the whole truth, would she still want to stay? Or would the pain be too much to bear? The revelation about Olivia's letter changed everything, but not in the way Ethan expected. Instead of bringing Chloe closer to the family, it seemed to create a painful distance. For the next 3 days, Chloe carried out her duties with the twins impeccably, but there was a sadness in her eyes that hadn't been there before. She smiled at Liam and Noah, sang to them, but avoided long conversations with Ethan. "Is everything all right?" he asked one morning, finding her preparing bottles in the kitchen. "Of course, Mr. Blackwood," she replied formally without facing him. The Mr. Blackwood was like a slap. For weeks she had simply called him Ethan. "Chloe, what's going on? Since we came back from the orphanage, you seem..." "Seem what?" She finally faced him, and he saw restrained tears in her eyes. "I'm fine, just processing everything. Do you want to talk about it?" "There's nothing to talk about." She picked up the bottles. The boys must be hungry. But Ethan didn't let her pass. "Chloe, please. Talk to me. What do you want me to say?" Her voice suddenly exploded. "That I'm happy to know my sister looked for me for years while I was lost in the world? That she wanted me to be her children's godmother, but died before finding me? Are you angry at her?" "I'm angry at myself." Chloe slammed the bottles onto the counter. "I should have gone back to the orphanage. I should have left a fixed address. I should have..." "You didn't know," Ethan gently interrupted. "But I should have known. A sister doesn't forget her sister." The tears finally came. "I forgot her. Completely. How could I have done that? Chloe, you don't understand." She faced him, her face wet. "I stole her place. It should be her here, caring for her children, singing to them, not me." "That's not true." "It is too. I'm just a substitute, a shadow of her." The silence that followed was broken by the twins crying upstairs. Chloe quickly wiped her face. "They need me," she murmured, heading for the stairs. "We need you," Ethan said behind her, but she had already gone upstairs. That night, Ethan looked for Mrs. Gable in the kitchen. "She's suffering," he said, "and I don't know how to help." "The girl carries guilt that isn't hers," Mrs. Gable observed. "She thinks she betrayed her sister by forgetting her. How do I make her understand it's not like that? Maybe you're not the one who needs to make her understand." Mrs. Gable pointed to the ceiling from where crying sounds came. But this time it wasn't Chloe singing to calm the babies. It was her crying along with them. Ethan went up the stairs 2 steps at a time. He found Chloe sitting between the cribs, Liam in her left lap, Noah in her right, all 3 crying. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the babies. "I'm sorry I'm not her. I'm sorry it's just me." "Chloe, stop that." Ethan entered the room. "It's true," she sobbed. "They deserve their mother, not an aunt who didn't even remember existing. Look at me." Ethan knelt in front of her. "Look at them." Chloe lifted her wet eyes. "Liam and Noah aren't crying because they want someone else. They're crying because they feel your pain. They love you, Chloe, as you are, not as anyone's substitute. But Olivia is gone." Ethan's voice was firm, but gentle. "And yes, that's a tragedy. But you are here. And they need you. Chloe, not Olivia's shadow." Liam stopped crying and touched Chloe's face as he always did when she was sad. "See?" Ethan said. "They know you? They love you?" Chloe looked at the babies, then at Ethan. "I'm afraid I won't be enough. You are more than enough. You're perfect for them." In that moment, Noah babbled something that sounded like "mama" while looking at Chloe. He said "mama?" she asked, surprised. "He did," Ethan confirmed, emotional. "To you." Chloe hugged the twins tighter, finally understanding that her place in that family was not as Olivia's substitute, but as herself. Aunt Chloe, who loved them unconditionally. But downstairs, the phone rang. Mrs. Gable answered and, minutes later, came upstairs with a grave expression. "Mr. Blackwood?" It was the office. "There's an urgent situation. You need to travel for business tomorrow morning." Ethan looked at Chloe, then at the babies. For the first time in months, the idea of being away from his children terrified him. "For how long?" he asked. "A week, at least." Chloe noticed his tension. "I'll take care of them," she said softly. "You can go easy." But Ethan was not at ease. Something inside him screamed that he shouldn't leave Chloe alone now, not when she was still so emotionally fragile. And he was right to worry. Ethan left on a Tuesday morning, hesitating at the bedroom door. Chloe was changing Liam while Noah played in the crib. "Are you sure you'll be all right?" he asked for the 3rd time. "We'll be just fine," Chloe assured him, avoiding his gaze. "It's only a week. If you need anything at all, call me." "I know." Ethan kissed his children and left. The sound echoed through the house like a premonition. For 2 days, everything went smoothly. Chloe maintained the routine: bottles, baths, playtime. Mrs. Gable helped, but respected her space. On Wednesday, everything fell apart. Chloe woke to Liam crying. When she picked him up, she realized he was hot, very hot. "Mrs. Gable," she called, trembling. "Liam has a fever." At the hospital, after 2 agonizing hours, the doctor diagnosed a common viral infection. "It's normal," he reassured. "With medication and care, he'll be fine." But Chloe wasn't reassured. A cruel voice whispered, if it were his mother, this wouldn't have happened. Olivia would know what to do. Liam spent the night restless. Chloe didn't sleep, applying compresses, giving medicine, singing softly. Noah also became restless. Soon both were crying, and Chloe cared for both alone, exhausted. On Thursday, it got worse. Liam remained feverish, refusing his bottle. Noah developed a skin irritation. Chloe was at her breaking point. "You should call Mr. Blackwood," Mrs. Gable suggested. "No, he's in important meetings." The real reason was fear. Fear that Ethan would realize her inadequacy. By Friday, Chloe was broken. 3 sleepless nights, 2 sick babies. That's when she found another box of Olivia's belongings. Inside was a journal about the twins' first few months. Liam smiled for the first time today. My heart almost exploded with love. Noah is calm but expressive. His little eyes follow me around the room. I sang our song to them. They stopped crying immediately as if they understood every word. Chloe wept over the pages, cruelly comparing herself to the perfect mother. "I'm scared sometimes. What if something happens to me? Who will care for them with the same love?" The question hit her like a dagger. Liam began to cry again, weaker. Chloe rushed, feeling his fever had risen. No, she murmured desperately. "Please, Liam." But nothing calmed him. Not music, not being held, not kind words. Noah also began to cry loudly, sensing the despair. Chloe found herself with both babies in her arms, all crying together. Exhaustion, guilt, fear combined in an emotional avalanche. "I'm sorry," she sobbed. "I'm not her. I don't know how to do this right." Mrs. Gable found her like this. She didn't hesitate. She called Ethan. "Sir, you need to come back. Now." "What happened?" "They're sick, but they'll be fine. It's Chloe I'm worried about. She's falling apart. I'm on my way." When Mrs. Gable returned, Chloe was putting clothes into a backpack while the twins slept exhausted. "What are you doing?" "What I should have done from the beginning. They need someone better." "Chloe, don't do this. Liam got sick with me caring for him. I failed them, Mrs. Gable. I failed Olivia." Before Mrs. Gable could stop her, Chloe grabbed her backpack and left, leaving a note. "I'm sorry for not being enough. They deserve someone better." When Ethan arrived 6 hours later, he found Mrs. Gable in tears, the twins sleeping with low fevers and an impossible void to fill. Chloe had left, and he didn't know if he would ever see her again. Ethan read the note 3 times before reality set in. Chloe had left. The woman who had brought life to that house had simply vanished. "How long has it been?" he asked Mrs. Gable, his voice hoarse. 3 hours, she replied, wiping away tears. "I tried to stop her, but she was determined." Ethan looked at the sleeping twins. Liam was breathing better. His fever had gone down. Noah rested peacefully. Ironically, they were better. "She cared for them well," he murmured. "Why doesn't she see that?" "The girl carries guilt that isn't hers," Mrs. Gable said. "She thinks she betrayed her sister. I need to find her. Where do we even start? Seattle is huge." Ethan called his private investigator. "I need you to find someone. Urgent." Over the next 48 hours, the house returned to its sepulchral silence. Ethan hired a temporary nurse, but the twins cried constantly. They searched for Chloe with their eyes, refusing to eat. "They miss her," the nurse observed. "Babies get attached quickly." Ethan also felt it. He listened for her footsteps, waited for her humming voice. The house had lost its soul again. On Monday, the investigator called. "I found traces. She's at a hostel in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of the city." "Address?" "Sir, she asked not to be disturbed. Said she needed time." "Did she talk about the boys?" "Only that she made a terrible mistake and needed to disappear." Ethan hung up, frustrated. Chloe was close but didn't want to be found. During the week, he tried different approaches. Flowers with cards from the twins, Mrs. Gable with offers to talk, all politely refused. The twins worsened daily. Liam cried for hours looking for Chloe. Noah refused bottles from anyone. "They're getting depressed," the pediatrician warned. "Babies can develop abandonment issues." "What can I do?" "Bring her back, or accept a long readjustment period." The second option was unacceptable. His children needed Chloe. He needed Chloe. On Thursday, he decided to write a letter. Not from the businessman or desperate father, but from the man she had helped to be reborn. "Chloe, I won't lie by saying I understand your decision. I also don't promise that everything will be fine. But I need you to know, you did not fail. Liam got sick because babies get sick. That has nothing to do with being a good caregiver. You transformed our lives. Before you, this house was a mausoleum. I was a ghost. My children were orphans with a living father. You brought us music, laughter, love. You taught me to be a father again. You taught Liam and Noah what family is. I know you compare yourself to Olivia and feel inadequate, but you are not a substitute. You are Chloe. Unique, special, irreplaceable. The boys won't stop crying. They look for you in every corner. Noah refuses food. Liam stays at the window waiting. I'm not asking you to come back for me, although the house is dead without you. I'm asking for your nephews, who love you unconditionally. If you decide not to come back, I'll understand. But please let us explain how much you mean to us. With love, Ethan." He delivered the letter personally to the hostel. Then he waited. On Saturday, the phone rang. "Ethan?" Chloe's choked voice. "Can I talk to them?" "Of course." He rushed to the room, put it on speakerphone. "Hi, my loves," Chloe said. Immediately the babies stopped crying, searching for the voice. Liam babbled, "Mama." Noah stretched his little arms towards the phone. "They recognized your voice," Ethan said emotionally. "I'm so sorry I left you. You didn't abandon anyone. You just got a little lost. Can I come home?" The word home filled Ethan with hope. Always. This has always been your home. When Chloe arrived that afternoon, Ethan noticed a change in her. There was new determination in her eyes, a strength that hadn't been there before. She hugged the twins at length, apologizing. Then she faced Ethan. "If I stay, it needs to be different. Not as an employee or a substitute, as true family." "What do you mean?" "I want to be officially recognized as their aunt, participate in important decisions. I want them to know who I am." Ethan smiled, understanding that Chloe had found her place, not as Olivia's shadow, but as herself. "Welcome to the Blackwood family, Aunt Chloe." But there was still one final test ahead. The final test arrived on a Friday, 2 weeks after Chloe's return. Ethan was in his study when Mrs. Gable appeared at the door, her face pale with worry. "Mr. Blackwood, you have a visitor. Ms. Evelyn Pierce from Child Protective Services." Ethan's blood ran cold. "What does she want?" "She received an anonymous tip about the boy's living conditions. She wants to do an inspection." Chloe appeared behind Mrs. Gable, Liam in her lap, Noah crawling beside her. "What kind of tip?" "Child neglect," Mrs. Gable replied in a low voice. "They allege the children became ill under inadequate care." Silence hung heavy in the air. Everyone knew someone had twisted the facts about the difficult week they had experienced. "Where is she?" Ethan asked. "In the living room, examining the house." When they went downstairs, they found a middle-aged woman, with her hair pulled back and a severe expression, making notes on a clipboard. She looked up when she saw them. "Mr. Blackwood, I'm Ms. Evelyn Pierce. I need to discuss your children." "Of course, but may I know who made the report?" "Anonymous. They allege the children were exposed to unnecessary risks, that you travel constantly, leaving them with inexperienced caregivers." Chloe felt her stomach churn. The report was about her. "May I see the children?" the social worker asked. Ethan nodded. Chloe approached, placing Liam on the rug. The twins were playing happily, healthy and smiling. "They seem well cared for," Ms. Pierce observed, surprised. The report mentioned neglect. "Liam had a viral infection last week," Ethan explained. "Common thing in babies." "And who cared for him during the illness?" "I did," Chloe replied, her voice firm. "I'm their nanny. I mean, their aunt." Ms. Pierce frowned. "Aunt? There's no family relation listed in the documents I have. It's a special situation," Ethan said. "Chloe is my late wife's sister. We only recently discovered it. Documents proving that." Mrs. Gable quickly brought the orphanage papers, the certificates, Olivia's letter. Ms. Pierce examined everything carefully. "Interesting. You two reunited by chance?" "By destiny," Chloe corrected. "I came to work here without knowing the connection." "And your qualifications to care for babies?" 3 years at St. Jude's Orphanage. Here's my reference." Ms. Pierce called Sister Agnes right away, who gave a warm recommendation for Chloe. "May I observe the children's routine?" the social worker asked. Over the next 2 hours, Ms. Pierce observed every activity. She saw Chloe feed bottles with infinite patience. She watched Ethan playing on the floor with his children. She noticed the loving interaction among everyone. "How long are you alone with them?" Ms. Pierce asked. "It depends on Ethan's commitments," Chloe replied honestly. "But Mrs. Gable is always in the house." "And when they got sick?" Chloe took a deep breath. "Liam had a high fever. I took him to the hospital immediately. I followed all the medical instructions. It was scary, but we managed it well." "Was the father present?" "He was traveling for work," Ethan admitted. "I came back as soon as I found out. Leaving young children during travels can be problematic. That's why we want to formalize Chloe's situation," Ethan said quickly. "She's not just an employee, she's family." Ms. Pierce continued her assessment, checking the baby's room, the kitchen, the toys. Everything was impeccable. At lunchtime, she witnessed something that deeply impressed her. Liam began to whimper, clearly tired. Chloe approached and began to hum a soft melody. The effect was immediate. Liam completely relaxed. Then Noah also calmed down. Soon, both were sleeping peacefully in her arms. "What is that song?" Ms. Pierce asked, intrigued. "A song my sister used to sing during her pregnancy," Chloe explained. "They've known it since before they were born." "Impressive. I've never seen babies react like that." When the twins fell asleep, Ms. Pierce asked to speak with each adult separately. With Ethan, she was direct. "Are you capable of being a present father?" "I'm learning," he admitted. "Chloe taught me a lot about my own children. And if she decides to leave? I hope not. But if she decides to, I will respect it. And I'll find a way to be the father they deserve." With Chloe, the conversation was longer. "Why did you stay?" Ms. Pierce asked. "Because they are my family. They are all I have left of my sister. The report suggests you are inexperienced." "I'm human," Chloe replied. "I make mistakes, I get scared sometimes. But I love these children unconditionally." "And Mr. Blackwood? What's it like working for him?" "I don't work for him," Chloe corrected. "We're partners raising these children. He gave me a family, I helped him to be a father again." At the end of the afternoon, Ms. Pierce gathered everyone in the living room. "I found no evidence of neglect," she announced. "On the contrary, these children are loved, well cared for, and happy." The relief was visible on everyone's faces. "However," she continued, "I recommend that you formalize Chloe's situation. Shared custody, guardianship, something legal." "I've already prepared the documents," Ethan said. "Chloe will be officially recognized as a legal guardian for the boys." "Excellent. I'll return in 6 months for a routine follow-up." After she left, the three looked at each other in silence. "Who do you think made the report?" Mrs. Gable asked. "It doesn't matter," Chloe said. "The important thing is that we passed the test." Ethan hugged her impulsively. "Thank you. For staying. For fighting with us." "This is my family," she replied simply. "Families fight together." That night, as the twins slept peacefully, Chloe felt she had finally found her place in the world. Not as Olivia's substitute, but as Aunt Chloe, unique and irreplaceable. But the biggest test was yet to come. The biggest test arrived on an ordinary morning, 3 months after the Child Protective Services visit. Chloe was preparing coffee when she heard Ethan answer the phone in his study. His voice, initially calm, began to change. "What do you mean, emergency?" he asked, tense. "No, this can't wait." Chloe stopped stirring the twins' oatmeal. "How long?" His voice now sounded desperate. 3 months, impossible, I have young children." Liam, in his high chair, clapped his little hands, complaining about the delay. Noah whimpered in Mrs. Gable's lap. "I understand it's important, but—" Long pause. "All right, I'll think about it." When he appeared in the kitchen, his face was somber. "What happened?" Chloe asked. "The company is expanding to Mexico. They want me to personally oversee the implementation." "For how long?" 3 months, maybe longer." Silence hung heavy in the air. 3 months was an eternity in the life of 1-year-old babies. "And if you refuse?" Mrs. Gable asked. "I could lose control of the company. It's a $50 million project. Without my supervision, it could fail." Chloe continued feeding Liam. "When would it be?" "Next week." "That fast?" Mrs. Gable almost dropped Noah. "The Mexican government set a tight deadline. If we don't go now, we lose the opportunity." Chloe finished feeding Liam, wiped his little face, and picked him up. "What do you want to do?" "I don't know." Ethan ran his hands through his hair. 6 months ago, I would have gone without hesitation. Business was the priority. And now? Now I can't imagine being away from them for 3 months. Liam stretched his little arms towards his father, clearly babbling, "Da-da." Ethan picked him up, and the baby snuggled into his chest. "Take them with you," Mrs. Gable suggested. "To Mexico? With all the hustle, meetings, internal travels? It would be worse." "What if I came along?" Chloe offered. "To care for them while you work." Ethan stared at her. "You would do that?" "They're my nephews, I'll go wherever they go. But it's your life too. You can't drop everything for us." "This is my life. You are my family." In the following days, the house became a whirlwind of preparations. Documents for the baby's international travel, vaccinations, passports. Chloe researched childcare in Mexico, climate, time zones. Ethan hesitated constantly. Maybe it's crazy to take 1-year-old babies to another country. Or maybe it's the most natural thing, Chloe replied, keeping the family together. What if something goes wrong? What if they get sick away from home? Mexico has excellent hospitals, and I'll be there. Chloe, Ethan paused. Why are you doing this? Why are you willing to give up your life here? She stopped folding baby clothes. Because I learned something important in the last few months. What? Family isn't where you're born. It's where you choose to stay. The words touched Ethan deeply. And you chose to stay with us? I chose a long time ago, since the first day I sang to them. Even knowing it might mean sacrifices. They're not sacrifices when you love. On the eve of the trip, Ethan had one last crisis of insecurity. While organizing documents, he found a photo of Olivia pregnant, radiantly smiling. What would she think about this? He murmured. Chloe found him holding the photo. She'd think you're being a wonderful father. How can you be sure? Because I know her journal. I read every page. She wanted you to be happy, to succeed, for the boys to see the world. But she also wanted me to be present. And you will be. Being in Mexico working while they're with you is very different from leaving them here alone. Ethan looked at Chloe. Are you sure about this? About coming with us? Absolutely. And what if there you decide you want your own life? To meet other people? Have your own children? Chloe smiled. Who says I can't have all that right here? Liam and Noah are practically my children already. And as for other people, she blushed slightly. Maybe someone special is already closer than I think. It was Ethan's turn to blush. In recent weeks, he had realized that his feelings for Chloe went beyond gratitude and respect. Chloe, Shh. She put a finger to his lips. Let's take it one step at a time. First Mexico, then we'll see what the future holds. That night, as they finished packing, Liam became restless. Chloe picked him up and began to hum their usual song. Mama, Liam clearly said, looking at her. He calls you mommy now, Ethan observed. And Noah calls you daddy. We're family, Ethan. Strange, unlikely, but real. A family about to venture into the world. Together, as it should be. The next morning, when the taxi arrived to take them to the airport, Ethan looked one last time at the mansion. It was no longer the cold, silent house it once was. It was a home full of memories, love, and hope. Ready for the adventure? Chloe asked, holding Noah while Mrs. Gable tearfully said goodbye to Liam. Ready, Ethan replied, realizing that for the first time in a long time, he would face the future without fear, because he was no longer alone. He had a real family by his side. 6 weeks in Mexico had passed like a dream. The apartment Ethan rented in Mexico City was spacious, with a view of Chapultepec Park. Liam and Noah adapted surprisingly well, fascinated by the different sounds and the golden light from the windows. Chloe had discovered an unexpected knack for languages. Her high school Spanish lessons came back to her, and soon she was having basic conversations with market vendors, the Mexican pediatrician, and other parents at the park. ¿Cómo se dice baby? She asked Liam, playing on the rug. Bibi, Ethan replied, smiling. Bibi, Chloe repeated, tickling Liam, who giggled. Ethan watched with growing admiration. Chloe had embraced the adventure with genuine enthusiasm, transforming a potentially stressful experience into a journey of family discoveries. Their mornings followed an established routine. While Ethan left for meetings, Chloe explored the city with the twins. Colorful markets, historic plazas, museums adapted for children. Papa trabaja mucho, Chloe explained to Noah in improvised Spanish, pointing at the window. Noah babbled back, as if he understood perfectly. It was on a Thursday afternoon that everything changed. Ethan arrived early, finding Chloe in the kitchen preparing homemade baby food. She was humming softly in Spanish, a song learned from their Mexican neighbor. How was your day? She asked without turning around. Complicated, Ethan admitted, loosening his tie. The project is delayed. It might mean we have to stay another 3 months. Chloe stopped stirring the baby food. Another 3 months? The Mexican investors want changes to the contract. It'll take time to renegotiate. And the boys? They can't be away from home for so long. That's why I need to talk to you. Ethan approached. What do you think about you and the twins going back to Seattle? I'll stay to finish. The spoon slipped from her hands. separate us. It would be temporary. 2, 3 months at most. Ethan, Chloe turned to face him. In 6 weeks here, have you missed any meetings because of them? No, but have you failed to close any deals because you needed to care for the children? No. Then why do you want to send us away now? Ethan hesitated. The truth was more complicated than professional matters. In recent weeks, his feelings for Chloe had intensified dangerously. Seeing her every day, sharing meals, watching her care for his children, he was falling desperately in love, and that terrified him. It's not about work, he finally admitted. Then what is it about? About us. Chloe remained silent, waiting for him to continue. Chloe, Ethan ran a hand through his hair. I'm feeling confused. About you, about me, about this whole situation. What kind of confusion? The kind that could complicate everything between us. Chloe took a step forward. Ethan, can I ask you a question? Of course. Do you feel anything for me? Beyond gratitude or respect? The direct question completely disarmed him. Chloe, it's a simple question. Yes or no? Ethan stared at her for long seconds. Yes, he finally whispered. I do. Much more than I should. Why do you think you shouldn't? Because you're Olivia's sister. Because you're my children's nanny. Because it would be complicated. Or it could be natural, Chloe softly replied. What do you mean? We're 2 single adults who care for each other, raising 2 children together. What's complicated about that? Olivia is gone, Ethan. And as much as we loved her, she's not coming back. You have a right to be happy again. And you? Do you have a right to be happy with a man 10 years older? A widower, with 2 children? Chloe smiled. Those 2 children are my nephews. I'd love them no matter what. And as for the age difference, she shrugged. Love has no age. Chloe, do you love me? The question slipped out before she could stop herself. The silence stretched. Liam began to whimper in the living room, breaking the moment. I'll take care of him, Chloe said, heading for the door. Chloe, wait. She stopped without turning around. Yes, Ethan said, his voice choked. I love you. More than I ever imagined I could love someone again. Chloe turned slowly, tears in her eyes. Then why do you want to send us away? Because I'm afraid of ruining everything. I'm afraid I won't be enough for you. I'm afraid that one day you'll wake up and realize you deserve someone better. Ethan Blackwood, Chloe said, approaching him. You are the most idiotic and wonderful man I've ever met. Idiotic? For thinking you're not enough. You gave me a family, a purpose, love. How is that not enough? Before he could reply, she kissed him. A soft kiss full of promises and hope. When they separated, Liam had stopped crying in the living room as if he sensed the harmony in the air. So we're staying? Ethan asked. We are, Chloe confirmed. All of us together. And after? When we go back to the US? We'll see after that. One day at a time, one discovery at a time. Ethan hugged her, feeling that for the first time since Olivia's death, the future seemed bright again. Outside, the Mexican sun set over the city, tinging everything with gold. It was the end of one day and the beginning of something completely new. But there was one last surprise waiting for them. 2 years later, the Blackwood mansion breathed life again. It was a sunny Saturday in September and the garden was decorated with colorful balloons. Liam and Noah, now almost 3 years old, ran across the grass, chasing soap bubbles Mrs. Gable blew. Aunt Chloe! Aunt Chloe! Liam shouted, tripping and falling, laughing loudly. Careful, champ, Chloe said, helping him up. Her hair was longer, casually tied back, her dress simple but elegant. Are you hurt? Ethan asked, approaching with Noah in his arms. I'm fine, Daddy, Liam replied, ready to continue playing. The company anniversary party was underway. Employees, partners, and friends spread throughout the garden, but this time the celebration had a completely different tone from the cold corporate events of before. Mr. Blackwood, the secretary said, the reporters want a family photo for an article about the success of the Mexican expansion. Of course, Ethan agreed. Chloe, come here. Me? Chloe hesitated. But this is about the company. The company is ours, Ethan said firmly. You are part of all of this. The photographers arranged the pose, Ethan and Chloe in the center, each holding a twin. Behind them, the imposing mansion, but now with open windows, fluttering curtains, and life pulsating. "Smile," the photographer asked. None had to force it. The smiles came naturally. Noah making a face, Liam waving, Chloe radiant, Ethan with an expression of peace he hadn't had in years. After the photos, the guests dispersed. Chloe watched Ethan talking to investors, gesturing animatedly. He had changed a lot. He was still a determined businessman, but now there was a lightness, spontaneous laughter, always an eye on his children. "Aunt Chloe," Noah called, tugging her skirt. "Sing-song?" "Which song, my love?" "Mommy Olivia's song." Chloe smiled, picking him up. In recent months, she had begun telling the twins stories about Olivia, not as a distant figure, but as a loving mother who remained present through memories. "The song she sang when you were in her tummy?" "That one," Noah confirmed, clapping his hands. Chloe began to hum the soft melody, the same one from that first night in the house. But now there was no sadness, only love, continuity, and hope. Ethan interrupted his meeting, watching with a warm heart. This was exactly how Olivia would have wanted it. Children growing up surrounded by love, music, and family. When she finished, the twins applauded along with the guests. "Mommy Olivia liked it?" Liam asked, looking up at the sky. "I'm sure she did," Chloe replied, kissing his forehead. "She's always with us when we sing." Later, when the guests had left and Mrs. Gable took the twins for their bath, Ethan and Chloe were left alone in the garden, gathering traces of the party. "Did you see the article that's coming out?" Ethan asked. "No, what does it say?" "Businessman finds perfect balance between professional and family life." He chuckled. "If only they knew how lost I was before you." "You weren't lost," Chloe corrected. "You were suffering, it's different. And now? Now you are the father you always should have been. The man Olivia fell in love with." Ethan stopped gathering balloons. "Chloe, can I ask you something?" "Always. Are you happy? Truly happy? With this life? With me? With the boys?" Chloe approached, placing her hands on his chest. "Ethan, when I was little at the orphanage, I used to dream of what it would be like to have a real family. I imagined a house full of laughter, children running, someone to love. And this life surpasses all my dreams. You three are the family I always wanted, even if it's a unconventional family. Especially because it's unconventional." Chloe laughed. "We are a chosen family, built with love, forgiveness, and second chances. It's the most beautiful kind there is." Ethan kissed her, a kiss full of gratitude and future promises. "Daddy, Aunt Chloe," the twins called from the window. "Come read a story." They separated, laughing. "Duty calls," Chloe said. "Our duty," Ethan corrected, taking her hand. Going up the stairs together, Chloe looked around the house she now called home. The walls were filled with photos, twins at various stages, the trip to Mexico, their first Christmas together, birthdays, first steps. In the center of it all, in a special frame, was the photo of Olivia pregnant, smiling, not as a ghost of the past, but as a living part of the family she had helped create. In the twins' room, while Ethan read a story about friendly dragons and Chloe put away toys, Liam yawned. "Aunt Chloe leaving?" he asked sleepily. "Never," she replied, kissing his forehead. "I'm staying here with you forever. Promise?" "I promise." Noah had already fallen asleep. Liam fought against sleep, then also surrendered. Ethan and Chloe left in silence, closing the door softly. "Forever is a long time," Ethan whispered in the hallway. "Not long enough," Chloe replied, smiling. Downstairs, the phone rang. Mrs. Gable answered. "Mr. Blackwood, it's the company. They want to know if you'll accept that project in Europe." Ethan looked at Chloe, then at the children's bedroom door. "Tell them I'll only accept if it's a project that allows me to bring the family along." "The whole family," Chloe added, taking his hand. "The whole family," Ethan agreed. Thus, in a house that had known silence and sadness, now echoed laughter, music, and the certainty that true love always finds a way to flourish. Chloe had arrived as a stranger on a rainy morning, but had discovered she was exactly the missing piece to complete that family's puzzle. Not as a substitute, but as herself. Aunt Chloe, who brought light where there was darkness, and taught that family is not just blood but choice, care, and unconditional love.